Good morning. Welcome to a special edition of the Money Matters for April 10th, 2025. Pardon the attire. We are the tail end of spring break, and I did not intentionally bring any nice clothes. So I thought this was important to get a message out before the end of this week, just in light of everything that's going on. And of course, timing wise, when you leave for spring break, you have one of the most turbulent weeks in the market in recent history. That being said, I want to first say we get it. Like this is scary, and we've gotten a few calls. Most of you haven't called, to which I credit you because you've been through it before, I think. But there's more than a handful of you that have reached out, and I get it. Look, we're fully invested. I've seen the same drops in my portfolio personally, and it's not fun. It is not fun. So I want to put some reminders out, and I'm not going to go too data heavy, but I just want to encourage everybody to take a break and zoom out a little bit. So, for those of you that maybe haven't been paying attention, we had a little announcement yesterday that the tariffs are going to have a 90-day pause. So, I guess you're getting this video on Friday. So, technically, that was Wednesday, and the market shot up 10%. Now, before that, we've had day after day of just onslaught of the markets getting hit. And again, we've seen this sort of thing before, but I want to remind everyone some of the best days come in the middle of some of the worst days. That's how it's always has been, and that's how it's always going to be. So, a couple of things. The other thing is, when you get times like this, the inclination is, I need to do something. I need to make some change. I need to take action. That's just how we're built. And part of our job is to make sure that you don't take any action that's going to, hurt yourself in the long term. So, this is a slide I think is excellent to look at right now. And this shows, the chance of a positive return based on the S&P 500 since 1937. So if we start on the left in any one day, it's basically a 50-50 shot. You could make or lose money. Okay, not great. Go a month, go 3 months, go a year. A year, on average, we say 7.5 times out of 10, you're positive. That's pretty darn good odds. And the last negative year we had was 2022. 2025 is to be determined. I don't know. Nobody knows. But even for those of you who are retired and who have been retired, or even, even more experienced in your, 70s and 80s, look at the 3 year, almost 90% of the time. The 5 years, over 90%, and the 10 years, almost, 98%. So if you zoom out, and I know there's a lot going on right now, but if you zoom out, it's a pretty bright outlook, regardless of your feelings on politics or any of that. Okay. So I just want to remind everybody. Now, that doesn't mean it's not painful, in the in-between. And that's why we're here to talk to you and field your calls. If we zoom in a little more, and this is maybe a little small, but I just want you to see, some of these biggest losses, and this needs to be updated now for 2025 because some of those would make this. If you look at the returns a year later, the vast majority of the time, probably 90+% of the time, it's a really, really positive return. Okay. Um, and then this is a reminder. I think, things were so smooth last year that, again, people tend to forget. We see these declines all the time. Now, not quite the 20%. Okay. The 20%, we did hit that in the S&P. That happens about once every 5 years. The last was June of 2022. So there's, that was a big one. And what happens over the next week, month, 6 months, I don't know. But the theme here is this is common. This has happened before. It's part of the process. So we're not worried. You shouldn't be. If you have questions or concerns, please reach out. So just one last thing on, okay, hey, I want to take action. What can I do? Well, I'll tell you personally, I'm investing as much as I can. We're in, and it's I know this is old and it's not a new comment, but it still rings true. And this is from Warren Buffett. The stock market is the one thing that nobody ever wants to buy on sale. And that's because it's scary. But if you think of any major purchase, think of a house you're looking to buy, and you really want to buy this house, and all of a sudden it's on sale for 10%, or they take it down 10%, you're going to be thrilled about that. But for some reason, the market, well, I know the reason, it's fear. Nobody ever wants to buy it on sale. Everybody wants to buy when it's full price. Okay. So Just keep that in mind. The price goes up long term. Short term, I don't know, but I would argue that, whether you're retired or you've got 30 years for retirement, you've got a timeline of at least several years. Market tends to work pretty good. So I would encourage everybody to take advantage, continue your dollar cost averaging. If you have some cash laying around, consider taking advantage of this dip. It might not be the bottom. I don't know. But I can tell you again, I've been buying in a lot because I'll take 10, 15% off anytime. I mean, that's better than, it being at a record high and you continue to buy. So with that, I hope you all have a great week. We are in, if you can see the background, I don't know, but we're just outside of Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, with one day left of spring break before we're back to the cold, rainy Michigan. But like I said, I wanted to get this message out there. We're still fielding all the emails. It was an interesting week to get away, but we appreciate you all. We're here for you, your family, and your friends. Have a great week.